Everyone. I just had a wonderful session with one of our peers, one of your peers, one of my students. And earlier I had a session with a couple of other students. And from those sessions, I've learned how I can help you with certain types of questions. So this video is an impromptu recording so that I can clarify certain concepts that I believe are going to be challenging for more than just the students that I've met with. So in this video, I will show you how to find the mean, the median, and the mode from a list. Um, well, from that's a typo. I meant to say from three different kinds of data formats. And the data formats we're going to look at are a list of values, values organized into a frequency distribution table, and a grouped frequency distribution table. So depending on the format that you get, you're going to have a different process to do. For a list of data, that means your data values are just all spread out, listed individually in a single column, or they could be in a table in like another shape, but basically every single data value is shown, right? And so whether some of the values are like arranged like this, what have you, that's still considered a list because all the values are listed out, okay? And typically we see them like this in one column. All right, and so you can see that I have my sample size here, and I'm also going to take the sum of my x values, and I'm going to find the mean. I'll come down here a little ways, and the median and the mode from this. Okay, now it's actually really easy if it's a list. You can just use the average function to take your mean. Sorry, let me start over so you don't think I kind of did something weird there. So the average function and then just select your data values. And then the median. And the mode, I don't know if there is a mode, the remainder divided. I don't think these, oh yeah, it does. See, mode.mult or mode.single returns a vertical array of the most frequently occurring or repetitive. I don't want an array. I want a single value. Returns the most frequently occurring or repetitive value in an array. Okay, so that's the one we want, mode single. And I can find it like that. Now, the way I would find it if I was just using my knowledge about what each of these measurements mean, to take my mean, I would want to add up all my data values, and then I would want to divide by the sample size, which you can see I have the last value in row 11 and a header, so that means there's 10 values, or you can use the count function to just quickly know how many values are there. And then to get my mean, okay, so I used Excel in this column, and now I'm going to use math here in this column just to show you how I would do it if I wasn't using Excel formulas. So I would divide the sum by the sample size, right? Okay, to get my median, I would want to know, well, what's the value in the middle when the values are in order? Now, let me check that my values are in order. If they're not, you can select, go to Data, and choose Data Sort. So now that they're in order, I want to say, well, okay, I have 10 values. I know the median is is exactly in the middle. So what's halfway between the beginning and the end? Well, that would be half of 10, right? So I would count half of 10 is 5. So I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so this is the upper 50% of my data. And 5 from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the lower upper half. Did I say that backwards? Hopefully you know what I meant. So I have my lower half, the lower 50%, and the upper 50% of my data set. And the median, if you have an odd number of values, there will be one value in the middle that's separating the two halves. And if you have an even set, like in this case, then you would have two middle values and you would average those to get your median. So I'm just going to take these two values in the middle, and you can see they're the same number, so the average is going to turn out to be 3, but just showing it in case you had different values, you're just taking the average of the two middle values. Okay, now the mode would be the value that occurs the most frequently. So I can see that 3, in fact, I can organize this into a frequency table. I have the number 3 appearing a frequency of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, right? And I have the number 4, and that is appearing how many times? Twice. And I have the value 6 appearing how many times? Twice. So notice that when I add up all of my counts, I get a total count of 10, which is my sample size. And notice that the value that appeared the most frequently has the highest frequency. And so the answer is the data value that has the highest frequency. So that would be 3. Okay, so it's a coincidence that the mean and the median are the same here. That doesn't always happen. So that's how I would deal with a data list. Now, a frequency distribution table, where we have, instead of a list, we have a summary where we've grouped, sort of grouped. It's not really, I'm careful to use the word group because we're also going to talk about a grouped frequency distribution, which is slightly different than just a regular frequency table. But the difference is that the grouped frequency distribution has classes from a lower limit to an upper limit instead of just listing out organizing by individual values. Okay, so in a frequency table, we can see that we had 3 values, and I'm going to list them out here. 3 values, or no, sorry, I meant to say the value 3 appearing 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we had the number 4 appearing twice. So I'm going to list them out. 4, 4. 5 appeared no times, 6 appeared twice, 6, 6. 7 appeared 3 times, so 7, 7, 7. 8 and 9 both appeared once, and 10 appeared twice. So now I have all my values listed out, and we saw how we could get the mean, the median, and the mode, probably just using the functions in Excel. Oh, what the heck? That's not what I meant to do. I meant to select this. And the median has its own function, and the mode dot single. Okay. So using Excel. Okay. Now, using math, we know what to do. I would take the sum of all the x values divided by the sum of the frequencies, since the sum of the frequencies gives me the total count, because another word for frequency is count. So I'm just going to, that's your frequency, also your counts, right? So your total count of the data values, right? Your n, for instance, your sample size, if I was taking it from my list, I would count all the values in my data list, and I would have 17. Well, here, I can't just count all the values in my list, because if I do that, it's going to give me only 8, because there's only 8 rows, right? 8 values. But we know that 3 appeared actually 6 times, so it's not giving me the right count. Instead of doing that, I should be taking the sum, adding up all these counts of each individual value to get a total count. I gotta pull down a little bit more. There we go. A total count of 17. All right, so to get my mean, I took the sum of the x's, which I could get like this from the list, or I could get that same total by doing something else. So the sum of the x's in this case will be the sum of x times the x's, because we have to consider that for the number 3, there's a total sum of all these values, right? And for the number 4, there's a total sum of 8. And so on. For the 6, there's a total sum of 12. And so on like that. Now, instead of doing all that and listing everything out, this could take a long time. So instead, the shortcut is to multiply each x value times its frequency. That'll do the repeated addition for me. So you see how I got that 18 there, just like over here. Little separation here. Okay, and then if I keep doing that, if I keep multiplying each x value times its frequency, that's going to do that repeated addition for me for each of these. Now, the quick way is to just copy the relative formula down. And then I have, as you can see, the 8 that I got before right here for the number 4. For the number 6, I had a total of 12. And so all of these, basically, if I just add these together, I'm going to get the same sum. The sum of x gave me the sum of all these, right? And the sum of fx is going to give me the same thing. You see that? Okay, and the reason I'm showing you all this is so that you understand what's happening so you don't get confused. If you understand it, you may have a better shot at not mixing things up, right? And seeing everything laid out like this can give you a good visual of what's happening here, right? So now what do we need to do? We need to add all the x's together, or if they're laid out in an organized summary table like this, then you need to do the fx column and then total that to get your sum of x. I need to come down one more there. We don't want to do that. We want to do these. Just fixing my stuff here. Okay, now that we maybe understand that, hopefully, I'm assuming, but I'm going to show you from the start how quickly you can get this answer, because it shouldn't take you a long time. All right, all you need to do is make an fx column. I'm going to put the steps over here. 1 fx column. All right, so fx equals this times that. Copy it down. Okay, 2. Sum all of your f values. This is to get your sample size, n equals. Okay, so I'm going to add up my counts. And then I think I missed some right there. Okay. 3. Sum up your x's equals the sum of fx in this case. So I can copy this to the right. Since I already did the sum of this column relatively, I can copy it to the right, and then this is going to add up the sum in the C column. So now I have that. 4, divide the sum of fx divided by the sum of the frequencies, or in other words, the sum of x listed, I should say, divided by the sample size. It's the same idea. Okay, and this will be our answer, the mean. Okay, so we just take, to find the mean, we take the sum of all the fx's divided by the total count. Right, so that's how you find the mean. To find the median, you still need to find the middle position. So make sure your values are laid out from least to greatest, and then realize that this 3 actually counts as 6 threes. And I know that I have a total of 17 values in my data set. So what's half of 17? Half of 17, what is that? So n equals 17. Half of 17 is, you can probably do it in your head, but just 8.5, right? So going 8 values in, that would be 8. 8 values from the bottom, 2, 3, 4, 7. So I'm in here somewhere. Okay, because that's how my data is divided. So this is where your middle value lies, because I have 6, 8, 9, 10. That's more than I need to go. I needed to go in 8.5, right? So here's 8. Now when I go another half step, I'm in this class or this section. So now I have the median is 6. Okay, that's the same median I got when I listed out all my data values one by one. I'm just going to do it again so I can show you. Right, so remember we went half, or I don't know if I actually showed this part. Halfway in would be 8 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Halfway from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so my middle value is right there, 6. 6. Right? The mode is the value that appears the most frequently. And I want to say, just keep in mind that the mode is the most popular answer. Okay? It's the answer that is given the most often. Answer given most often. Okay, so then what is the question? Or what are the answers? These are the answers that you collected when you were collecting your data. Okay? So what is the most commonly given answer? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? And so on. That's the question. So the one that has the highest count is the most popular answer. So out of all of these, 6 had the highest number, or is the highest number, I should say, and that makes 3 the most popular answer. So the answer is 3, the mode. Just like if you look here, which value do you see appearing the most often? You see 3 appearing the most often out of all the other answers. And finally, if you're dealing with a grouped frequency distribution table,